Hi everyone, it's Friday the 12th of May, and yesterday we left the Syrophoenician woman begging Jesus to deliver her daughter who was severely possessed by a demon. And we see Jesus quite harshly sometimes, we think, ignoring her, not even answering and saying no, just ignoring her completely. Why did he do that? When eventually he did grant her request. Well, a couple of chapters before, Jesus says this: when an evil spirit, in verse chapter 12, when an evil spirit comes out of a man, it goes through arid places seeking rest and does not find it. Then it says, I will return to the house I left. House meaning the home he had within the person. When it arrives, it finds the house unoccupied. Now, this is the important part. And it swept clean and in order. Then it goes and takes with it seven other spirits more wicked than itself, and they go in and they live there. And the condition of that man is worse than before. So I believe that Jesus stalled in giving her request, because he didn't just want to give her request and let her go immediately and go back to their lives as they were living before, because maybe the girl's life would have actually become much worse, because she would have been swept clean but unoccupied. So when Jesus delays answering her, he's actually getting her to see herself as she truly is, and him who he truly is, to realize that she needs not just a quick click of the fingers by this holy man, but actually she herself needs salvation, a life changing encounter with Jesus, to see who he really is and how much she needs him, not just healing for a daughter. And so when she goes back, but hopefully she is a changed woman. And I've I experienced that same experience of Jesus not delivering me for years and years, and my deliverance was from smoking. Now, I'm not saying that everyone who smokes has a problem with a demon, but I think I did, because my obsession with smoking started when I was about 5 or 6 years old. I was so obsessed that I made my own pretend cigarettes out of paper and talcum powder and tissues and things like that. And then as I got older, I started smoking tea leaves in the woods when I was about 10 or 11. And I harassed my parents so much when I was a bit younger, about 9 or 10. I think my dad came home with cigarettes from work that he'd taken from someone, and in the idea that we'd be put off by smoking them. And they were Rothmans too, so they were quite strong. But it didn't put me off. I think he put my brother off. I think he was sick, but it just fueled my desire. And I started smoking for real, like real cigarettes, when I was about 13 on my own, not because my friends did. Actually, none of my friends did. None of my family did. I never grew up with that influence. It's just odd, wasn't it? And I just look back and think I was groomed by the enemy to smoke for some reason. And later on, I tried to give up when I was an adult and couldn't. I mean, I did give up for a week or a month or so, but I'd always end up going back to smoking. And it wasn't that I struggled with physical cravings, because I didn't smoke at home. Even when I got married to Marie, she didn't know I smoked. It was only at work or if I wasn't with her. And I didn't suffer from physical cravings when I didn't smoke. It was just this mental, I thought was mental desire and obsession with it. And it was only when I was just leaving the police and becoming a church pastor that God kind of spoke to me about it and set me free. And what happened was, maybe about 6 months before I left the police, so I was smoking in the backyard, I think at Croydon Police Station, the first instance. And someone came up to me, another police officer came up to me and said, I didn't know you smoked. I thought you were going to be a vicar. Vicars don't smoke, do they? And I said, well, no, I can't see a problem with it. I don't really drink or swear or anything. I'm not hurting anyone else. And that was that, really. And then a second police officer, about a week later, came up to me and said, I didn't know you smoked. And I said, well, yeah, don't do anything else much, but yeah. And they said, I thought you could be a vicar. Anyway, I still didn't worry about it too much. And then one night I was in custody, in charge of the custody suite there, and they had a prisoner there. It was very quiet that night, and they had one lady prisoner there who was well, she'd been caught for prostitution and drugs, and she'd been shoplifting as well. And she'd been staying overnight for court the next morning. And I let her out to have a phone call, and I had my Bible on the counter. And she said, "Oh, what's that?" And I said, "That's my Bible." And she said, "Oh, I go to church as well." And I said, "Oh, what church do you go to?" And she said, "Well, I don't know the name of it, but we sing hymns and then we contact the dead." And I went, "Oh, that seems like a spiritualist church. That's in the Bible. God says we shouldn't mess around with that. It defiles us." And anyway, I let her back into her cell, and then she came out for an interview with her solicitor. And as she came out of her interview, I was smoking by the back door. And she said, "Hang on a minute. You've been lecturing me from your Bible, and you're going to be a vicar, and you're smoking. How can you do that?" And it was at that point that I thought, oh, God, I don't have a problem with smoking, but other people do when it comes to seeing me as a minister or a vicar, and perhaps as a Christian. And so I said, I need to give up, don't I? Now, all those years I tried to give up because it was bad for me, because I didn't like it in kind of physical ways, because it was expensive, because I had children. I tried to give up when I had children, all these good reasons, but I couldn't. The desire just wouldn't go. And yet that night, as I said, "God, I need to give up because you want me to," instantly the desire left me, and I've never ever wanted to, been repulsed by it. I've never smoked since. And so that's probably why I say that it wasn't just physical for me, there was some kind of spiritual element. So God bless you. Bye bye.